Michael Andrew Duff McKagan is an American musician and writer. He is best known for his 12-year tenure as the bassist of the hard rock band Guns N' Roses, with whom he achieved worldwide success in the late 1980s and early 1990s. During his later years with the band, he released a solo album, Believe in Me, and formed the short-lived supergroup Neurotic Outsiders. Following his departure from Guns N' Roses in 1997, McKagan briefly reunited with his pre-success Seattle punk band 10 Minute Warning. He then formed the still-active hard rock band Loaded, in which he performs lead vocals and rhythm guitar. Between 2002 and 2008, he played bass in the supergroup Velvet Revolver with his former Guns N' Roses bandmates Slash and Matt Sorum. He joined Jane's Addiction for a brief tenure in 2010. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012 as a member of Guns N' Roses. In addition to his musical career, McKagan has established himself as a writer. He has written weekly columns on a wide variety of topics for SeattleWeekly.com, Playboy.com, and ESPN.com. A former high school dropout, he attended Seattle University's Albers School of Business and Economics in the early 2000s, and subsequently founded the wealth management firm Meridian Rock. Early life, McKagan grew up in the working-class U District of Seattle, the youngest of 8 children born to Alice Marie and Elmer McKagan. He has been called Duff since toddlerhood, to which he once referred as an Irish thing. Following his parents' divorce, his mother supported the family by taking a job as a typist. He was taught how to play bass by his brother Bruce, further developing his skills by playing along with the albums 1999 by Prince and Damaged by Black Flag. Later in his autobiography, It's So Easy, he said he was influenced by bass-driven bands such as that of Barry Adamson in Magazine. Although an honors student, McKagan dropped out of Roosevelt High School in the 10th grade. He then worked as a pastry chef for the Great American Food and Beverage Company while earning his GED. He was later awarded an honorary diploma by current principal Brian Vance after speaking at the class of 2012's graduation ceremony. Career, 1979 to 1985. Early years, McKagan once claimed to have been a member of 31 bands in Seattle, variously playing drums, guitar, and bass, although he admits that most of them were party bands that played together only once. In 1979, at the age of 15, McKagan formed the punk band The Veins, in which he played bass. They released the single School Jerks in 1980. During this time, he also played guitar in the punk band The Living, which opened shows for Ha 1/4 Skadar 1/4 and DOA, and developed a devoted following. In 1980, McKagan joined the pop-punk band The Fastbacks as their drummer. He appeared on their 1981 debut single It's Your Birthday, which was issued on guitarist Kurt Bloch's label No Threes Records, and on the song Someone Else's Room, which was included on the Seattle Syndrome Volume 1 compilation album, also released in 1981. In 1982, McKagan became the drummer for the hardcore punk band The Farts, with whom he recorded several demos, 5 of which were included on their 1990 album We See You Crawling. After several lineup changes, The Farts evolved into the post-punk band 10 Minute Warning, for which McKagan played guitar. In 1983, McKagan moved to Los Angeles, California, with one of his brothers where he found work as an appetizer server at a Black Angus restaurant in Northridge. Answering an ad for a bassist in a local newspaper, he met guitarist Slash and drummer Steven Adler, with whom he formed the short-lived band Road Crew. They auditioned a number of singers, including one-time Black Flag vocalist Ron Reyes, and worked on material that included the main riff of what would become the Guns N' Roses song Rocket Queen. Slash eventually disbanded the group due to them not being able to find a singer, as well as Adler's lack of work ethic compared to himself and McKagan. 1985 to 1997, Guns N' Roses, Believe in Me and Neurotic Outsiders. In June 1985, McKagan replaced bassist Abe H in Guns N' Roses, which was newly founded by singer AXL Rose and guitarist Izzy Stradlin of Hollywood Rose. McKagan's Road Crew bandmates Slash and Steven Adler joined the band that same month. After 2 days of rehearsal, the lineup played its debut gig at the Troubadour on June 6. In 1987, Guns N' Roses released its debut album, Appetite for Destruction, which to date has sold over 28 million copies worldwide, 18 million of which in the United States, making it the best-selling debut album of all time in the US. The following year, the band released G.N.Alize, which sold over 5 million copies in the US alone, despite containing only 8 tracks, 4 of which were included on the previously released EP Live at Like a Suicide. In 1990, Steven Adler was fired from the band because of his heroin addiction. He was replaced by Matt Sorum of The Cult. In May 1991, Guns N' Roses embarked on the 2.5-year-long Use Your Illusion tour. The following September, the band released the long-awaited albums Use Your Illusion I and Use Your Illusion 2, which debuted at number 2 and number 1 respectively on the US chart, a feat unachieved by any other group. In November of that year, Izzy Stradlin abruptly left the band. He was replaced by Gilby Clarke of Kill for Thrills. In 1993, the band released The Spaghetti Incident, a cover album of mostly punk songs, which proved less successful than its predecessors. McKagan took on lead vocals on 4 songs, including live favorite Attitude, originally by The Misfits. That same year, McKagan released his debut solo album, Believe in Me, on which he sang lead vocals and played virtually every instrument. In 1995, with Guns N' Roses largely inactive, McKagan formed the supergroup Neurotic Outsiders with Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols, John Taylor of Duran Duran, and his Guns N' Roses bandmate Matt Sorum. Originally a gathering of friends jamming together at the Viper Room in Hollywood, they released their self-titled album on Maverick Records in 1996. The band played a brief tour of Europe and North America, before disbanding in 1997. In August of that year, McKagan left Guns N' Roses as its last original member other than Axl Rose. 1997 2002, 10-Minute Warning Reunion, Beautiful Disease and Loaded. Following his departure from Guns N' Roses in 1997, McKagan moved back to Seattle, where he met with many of his old friends, including Pearl Jam's Stone Gossard, who convinced him to reunite 10-Minute Warning. Singer Christopher Blue was brought in to replace Steve Beowulf, who was serving a term in federal prison. In 1998, the band released their self-titled album on the well-known Seattle label Sub Pop. The album featured 9 tracks, including 2 new versions of songs originally recorded by the Farts, namely Is This the Way? And Buried. 10-Minute Warning played its last show on August 22, 1998 at the Rosalind Theatre in Portland, Oregon. McKagan's second solo album, Beautiful Disease, was intended to be released in 1999, but became lost in the legal shuffle of the merge between Geffen Records and Interscope Records. McKagan was dropped from Geffen's roster, and subsequently lost all commercial rights to release the record. For the tour supporting his ill-fated solo album, he formed the band Loaded, which consisted of McKagan on bass and vocals, Des Cadena, formerly of Black Flag, on guitar, Michael Barragan, formerly of Plexi, on guitar, and Tars Bentley, formerly of the Reverend Horton Heat, on drums. Loaded independently released the live record episode 1999, Live, before disbanding in late 1999. In 2000, McKagan reformed Loaded, remaining as the lead vocalist but switching from bass to rhythm guitar, and adding drummer Jeff Reading of Green Apple Quickstep, guitarist Mike Squires of Harvey Danger, and bassist Jeff Rouse of Alien Crime Syndicate. Both Squires and Rouse joined after the recording of the band's debut album, Dark Days, released in 2001. Dave Tadera, formerly of the Presidents of the United States of America, took up recording duties for the album. In 2002, while on tour, both Squires and Rouse left Loaded to join the reformed Alien Crime Syndicate. Former Wasted Youth and Electric Love Hogs guitarist Dave Kushner and former Burning Witch bassist George Stewart Dalequist were brought in to replace them. McKagan and Kushner went on to form Velvet Revolver, putting Loaded on hiatus. 2002 present, Velvet Revolver, Loaded Reunion, Jane's Addiction and GNR Reunion. In 2002, McKagan founded the supergroup Velvet Revolver with his former Guns N' Roses bandmates Slash and Matt Sorum, and Loaded guitarist Dave Kushner. Stone Temple Pilots singer Scott Weiland completed the lineup. In 2004, they released their debut album, Contraband, which debuted at #1 on the US chart and sold 2 million copies. Their second album, Libertad, was released in 2007 to mixed reviews. It failed to achieve the same commercial success as its predecessor. The band toured extensively, until Weiland left in April 2008 to reunite with Stone Temple Pilots. Velvet Revolver has been on hiatus since Weiland's departure. McKagan subsequently reunited Loaded, with Mike Squires and Jeff Rouse returning to the group, and that same year, they released the EP Wasted Heart. In 2009, the band released its second studio album, Sick, and embarked on tours with Ma Paragraphed Lee Kra One Quarter E and Blackstone Cherry. Later that year, Jeff Reading departed the band. He was replaced by Isaac Carpenter, formerly of Gosling, Loudermilk, and the X's. In 2010, McKagan briefly joined Jane's Addiction, with lead guitarist Dave Navarro originally confirming that McKagan had joined the band on a permanent basis. On joining the band, McKagan stated, "Something like a chance to write, record, and perhaps even perform with a band of the quality of Jane's Addiction does not come around every day. I have a lot of respect for this band and the guys in it." He worked on several songs with Jane's Addiction and played 4 shows with the band, 2 in Los Angeles, and 2 in Europe, including one at Rock in Rio in Madrid. On September 6, 6 months after McKagan joined the band, Jane's Addiction announced that they had parted ways due to the fact that musically, they were all headed in different directions. On October 14, 2010, McKagan appeared on stage with Guns N' Roses for the first time since 1993 at the O2 Arena in London. He played bass on You Could Be Mine, electric guitar on Nice Boys, a knock-in on Heaven's Door, and acoustic guitar and tambourine on Patience. McKagan then returned to Loaded, with whom he recorded a third studio album, The Taking, which was released in 2011. Loaded twice served as opening act for Guns N' Roses in December of that year, with McKagan again briefly joining his old band on stage. On April 14, 2012, McKagan was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the classic lineup of Guns N' Roses. In 2012, Duff went on tour with the Rock and Roll All-Stars, a band that consisted of many of rock's most recognized performers. The band downsized and became the Kings of Chaos. The primary members with Duff are Joe Elliott of Def Leppard and Joe Elliott's Down N', Matt Sorum of Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver, Gilby Clarke of Guns N' Roses and Steve Stevens of Billy Idol's band. Others who round out the group are, Glenn Hughes of Deep Purple fame and Sebastian Bach, formerly of Skid Row. The band plans on hitting the road and have released the cover song Never Before by Deep Purple. Hughes has stated the band will release a series of EPs with each EP featuring an original song and each EP featuring various genres of music, hard rock, alternative and punk. These genres seem to appeal to the various members the most. The tour will probably feature a mixture of these songs along with songs by Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver, Loaded, Deep Purple and Skid Row. Joe will be on lead vocals and will occasionally play guitar. Duff will play bass and occasionally play guitar, Matt will be on drums, Steve and Gilby will be on lead guitars. In 2013, the Rock and Roll All-Stars became the Kings of Chaos with the core band that consisted of many who were on the RNR All-Star lineup, but now there is a core lineup. This consists of Duff, Joe, Matt, Glenn, Steve and Gilby. They toured in Australia and South Africa. On the South Africa dates, Sebastian and Steve could not commit as they had prior engagements. This led to Vivian Campbell from Def Leppard taking Steve's place, and Mills Kennedy taking Sebastian's place, and the addition of Slash. Viv, who had to step down as he unfortunately contracted Hodgkin's lymphoma. Viv was replaced by Velvet Revolver guitarist Dave Kushner. The band was also joined by Ed Roland from Collective Soul, who was instrumental in getting the band booked for the gigs in South Africa. These gigs were very well attended, and it is likely the band will be doing another tour in the fall-winter of 2013 that will more than likely include Slash, Dave and Mills, as well as possible DVD and some original material from the band. Session work. In 1990, McKagan along with his Guns N' Roses bandmate Slash co-wrote and played several songs on Iggy Pop's Brick by Brick. In 1995, he collaborated with Slash on his solo project Slash's Snake Epit. He co-wrote Beggars and Hangers on off their album It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere, which he played live during a Snake Epit show in May of that year. In 1998, McKagan collaborated with his former Guns N' Roses bandmate Izzy Stradlin on his solo album 117 A Degree. The following year, he played on Stradlin's album Ride On, and joined him on a tour of Japan supporting the album. Also in 1999, he contributed to the album Humanary Stew, a tribute to Alice Cooper. In 2001, McKagan played on the album Skygen by Zilch, Mark Lanegan's solo album Field Songs, and Izzy Stradlin's album River. The following year, he played on Stradlin's album On Down the Road. In 2004, he again collaborated with Mark Lanegan on his album Bubble Gum, along with Stradlin. McKagan played on 3 tracks off Izzy Stradlin's 2008 album Concrete, including the title track, as well as 7 songs off his album Wave of Heat, which was released in 2010. Also in 2010, McKagan appeared on Slash's eponymous debut solo album. He played on the track Watch This with Dave Grohl on drums. That year, he also made a guest appearance along with Slash and Matt Sorum on Macy Gray's album The Sellout, and appeared on the Manic Street Preachers song A Billion Balconies Facing the Sun off their album Postcards from a Young Man. Other ventures. McKagan has 2 minor acting credits. In 1988, he appeared with his Guns N' Roses bandmates in the Dirty Harry film The Dead Pool, and in 1997, he played a rocker vampire in an episode of the television series Sliders. In 1999, he appeared in Anthony Scarpa's documentary film Betty Blowtorch and Her Amazing True Life Adventures, which focuses on the all-female hard rock band Betty Blowtorch, whose debut EP Get Off McKagan produced the same year. In addition to his musical career, McKagan has established himself as a writer. Since August 2008, McKagan writes a weekly column for SeattleWeekly.com. From January to December 2009, he wrote a weekly financial column titled Doofonomics for Playboy.com, and since January 2011, he writes a weekly sports column for ESPN.com. McKagan's autobiography, It's So Easy, was released on October 4, 2011. In 2011, McKagan founded Meridian Rock, a wealth management firm for musicians. Headed by McKagan and British investor Andy Bottomley, the firm aims to educate musicians about their finances. McKagan has been involved in the Heroes Project, founded by his friend Tim Medverts, which is dedicated to helping soldiers and their families. As part of the project, he took part in a climb up Mount Rainier in 2012, accompanying a former soldier with a prosthetic limb. During this climb, McKagan suffered a potentially fatal cerebral edema. It was announced in 2012 that Rainstorm Entertainment will produce a biographical documentary unregistered trademark based on It's So Easy. McKagan is listed as a producer and writer. Those interviewed for the project include Mick Jagger, Elton John, Slash, Joe Elliott and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Personal life. On May 28, 1988, McKagan married his first wife, Mandy Briggs, singer of punk rock band The Lame Flames. The couple divorced less than 2 years later on April 1, 1990. He remarried in September 1992 to Linda Johnson, but this marriage too ended in divorce in September 1995. McKagan married his current wife, model and swimsuit designer Susan Holmes, on August 28, 1999. They have 2 daughters together. McKagan and his family reside in his hometown of Seattle, Washington. McKagan was one of the last people confirmed to see Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain before he died on April 5, 1994. He sat next to Cobain on a flight from Los Angeles to Seattle on April 1. McKagan later recalled, I didn't have any foresight that the guy was going to do what he did. I could tell he was bummed out, and I'd been that way before. I thought I'd ask him to come stay at my house. I turned around and he was gone." On May 10, 1994, at the age of 30, McKagan became gravely ill due to acute alcohol-induced pancreatitis, which caused his pancreas to swell to the size of a football and leak digestive enzymes into his body, causing third-degree burns. He was taken to Northwest Hospital and Medical Center in Seattle, where he was monitored until the swelling went down. He was told by his doctors that he would be dead within a month if he did not stop drinking. He had made previous efforts to curb his drinking, but this health crisis was his incentive to become sober for good. In his autobiography, he attributed his sobriety to exercise through first mountain biking, and later martial arts. Although McKagan claims in his autobiography that the fictional product Duff beer on The Simpsons was named after him, and has received no royalties, there is no evidence for this beyond the autobiography, and Simpsons creator Matt Groening has called the claim absurd. A high school dropout, McKagan enrolled in a basic finance course at Santa Monica Community College in 1994. He explained that going over the financial records from his Guns N' Roses days had made him want to understand the process more, stating, "I couldn't make sense of it. I didn't know how much we had made or lost on the tour. As a 30-year-old millionaire, how do I admit to somebody that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing?" In 2000, after attending several more classes at Seattle Central Community College, he enrolled full-time at Seattle University's Albers School of Business and Economics. When Velvet Revolver took off in his final year as an undergraduate student, McKagan took a hiatus from business school to go on tour. He is still 1/4 short of graduating. Equipment: McKagan's longtime main bass was a mid-80s Japanese Fender Jazz Bass Special, which features an ash body, a maple neck, and a rosewood fretboard. McKagan currently uses it only during studio recordings. Several copies of this bass were built by the Fender Custom Shop in the original and various other finishes to be used on tour. In 2007, Fender replicated and released this bass as the Duff McKagan Signature P-Bass. In the past, McKagan used Kramer basses, and at one time had a Kramer endorsement. He can be seen playing a Kramer bass in the video for the 1988 Guns N' Roses hit Sweet Child O' Mine. McKagan has also used the Fender Aerodyne Jazz Bass, the Duesenberg Star Bass, the Gibson Les Paul bass, and the Gibson Thunderbird bass. He uses Seymour Duncan pickups and Roto Sound swingbass strings. McKagan also plays an acoustic Guild guitar, which can be heard on various songs, including Patience by Guns N' Roses. On Velvet Revolver's 2007-2008 tour, he used a Gibson J200 Pete Townshend signature acoustic guitar. Among his electric guitars are a Fender Telecaster, used on the tour supporting his debut solo album, Believe in Me, several GMP guitars used with Neurotic Outsiders, a selection of Gibson Les Paul models, and 2 Japanese Bernie models. McKagan has used Gallien-Kruger amplifiers throughout his career. His first a GK400AB model. With Guns N' Roses, he used up to 4 Gallien-Kruger 800AB heads with GK4X10 and 1X15 cabinets. His current setup includes a Gallien-Kruger solid-state 2001AB head fed to 4 GK4X10ABH cabinets. McKagan usually uses a chorus effect, most often a Yamaha SPX90 and occasionally a Boss pedal. Other effects he has used are the Z-Vex Woolly Mammoth Fuzz and an MXR M80. For guitar amplification, he uses a Marshall JCM 82204 head hot rodded by Bonner, which he nicknamed the Seattle Head. Discography: studio albums, Believe in Me, Beautiful Disease, Notes. References: Beryllion, Essie. The Rough Guide to Heavy Metal. Rough Guides. ISBN A978-1-84353-415-0. Cantor, Mark. Reckless Road, Guns N' Roses and the Making of Appetite for Destruction. Shoot Hit Press. ISBN A978-0-9793418-7-8. Davis, Stephen. Watch You Bleed, The Saga of Guns N' Roses. Gotham Books. ISBN A978-1-59240-377-6 Slash. Bozza, Anthony. Slash. HarperCollins. ISBN A978-0-00-725775-1. External links: Duff McKagan's column on SeattleWeekly.com, Duff McKagan's column on ESPN.com.